Ladies and gentlemen, please rise. And now to honor America, please join in the singing of our national anthem. Representing the three-time Stanley Cup champion New Jersey Devils, Arlette.
I feel like I'm at a game. Oh my gosh. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the
Happy Devils win a David Puddy Bobblehead Sunday. Everybody give me a big woo! Woo!
There you go,
Woo! Thank you, Shorts guy. I can't be the enthusiastic self because I'm not in the Let's Go Devils podcast bunker studios right now. I am in an undisclosed location somewhere in beautiful New Jersey, whose neighbor needs to go to bed at 8:15 p.m. every Sunday so she can get up and go to work and feel refreshed.
You live in a retirement community or something?
Pretty much.
Close to it.
Well, this is the Let's Go Devils podcast, season 2, episode 26. It is named Jersey Joe because we have Joe. Now, how do you pronounce his last name? I don't want to butcher it. I don't want to butcher it.
I don't say people's last names anymore.
Yeah, we'll just call him Jersey Joe.
I had his name on the show, and I completely butchered his name, Massasick, and I totally butchered his name, and I felt like such an ass.
You should call him Corey Massacre.
Yeah, I was like, oh, way to torpedo the interview before it even starts by just butchering this dude's name.
So, but we have a really big podcast. We have a really big podcast tonight. First off, we're going to be drawing the David Puddy Bobblehead towards the end of the podcast because we want you guys to follow along for the entire duration of the live podcast, where we're on Facebook Live, facebook.com/Let's Go Devils Podcast. We're on Twitter, Periscope, or Periscope and Twitter, at Let's Go Devils Pod. Again, it's at Let's Go Devils Pod. You can visit our YouTube channel, Let's Go Devils. And you can find us on Twitch, Let's Go Devils Podcast. I think it's twitch.com Let's Go Devils podcast. We have a whopping 9 total viewers all season there, but hey, that's okay. As long as we're streaming. Yeah. So we're on the up and ups. And if you're driving, we don't watch and drive at the same time. You can listen to the live audio version on letsgodevils.com, which, by the way, as producer Sam, I forgot to turn that live stream on. So I made a technical error right there, but I'll do that in about a minute. So don't switch over just yet.
Producer Sam, you're always good for at least one technical error at the beginning of every show. It's kind of like your MO. You have to.
I know. Now, when I don't make mistakes, the Devils
get worried
lose.
You didn't make a mistake.
Yeah.
Well, it did a really good job of doing that yesterday anyway.
Yeah. So, but anyway, want to thank Shannon, the manager at Mother's Ale House. Actually, yeah, another thing, I forgot to send her the link for this podcast. But anyway, So we have a big event, huge event coming on at Mother's Ale House on March 2nd. Now we built it that, come out, hang out with Grant Marshall on March 2nd, starting at 5 p.m. Everybody that's been to our events, there's a live pregame podcast where the Let's Go Devils podcast, we interview the feature guest, which is Grant Marshall. But I just got word yesterday that Arlette is going to be the opening act before our podcast, performing live, not only on Facebook Live and all that stuff on our social media channels, but live at Mother's Ale House before our podcast goes live. She said, she was like, send me whatever song you want me to sing. So we're going to ask Facebook Live, Twitter, Periscope, YouTube Live.
You're going to get a lot of like Rain and Blood from Slayer. You're going to get a lot of weird requests.
Hey,
not to say if you can't do it, but
hey,
saying.
You know what? When you're the most commented Devils podcast in the history of Devils podcasts, just expect it. Just expect it. People randomly. We got a random comment on YouTube Live that our knowledge of Devils hockey pre-2000 is awful. It's like, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me?
I probably watched about it.
Yeah.
Oh, now I'm fired up. Now you got to figure out who that person was. We'll bring them on the show.
I don't know, because I looked at their YouTube channel and it's a little shady. So I'm thinking, okay, this guy. Normally you could tell it's somebody that's spamming you, but when I looked at this, I don't know. We got to do our due diligence before we give this person the platform, this and that. So, but anyway, all I have to say is
we talk about the now, man.
Yeah, we talk about the now, yeah. And also, who also confirmed, and this was a complete surprise as well.
Who?
Organist Pete.
Organist Pete. Right. I gotta try and see if he'll give me that jacket he was wearing the other day. Dude, that thing was so nice. That white jacket that they had for the 90s night.
Oh, absolutely.
Him and Yoshi were wearing them. I tried to send him a message directly. I said, please give me your jacket.
Did he respond?
No.
Wait a second. You actually did that to Organist Pete? You're like, where'd you get that jacket?
No, I just said, can I have your jacket? That's it.
Oh.
That's all I said. Very straightforward. I'm not gonna. Hey, I don't have time to beat around the bush.
Hey, can I have your jacket you were given?
Can I have your jacket? Thanks. I'll talk to him when we see him.
Oh man.
Yeah,
Terrence Brown said he wants to hear Let's Sing Raining in Blood. That Rain in Blood, that would be to hear our Let's Sing anything like that would be odd.
But jazz
Terrence,
it up like
yeah, that would have to be like the jazz version.
Like Richard Cheese.
Oh my gosh.
If anybody doesn't know who Richard Cheese is, go look him up.
Look it up, yeah. Rob also says he knows a lot of shady people. So do I, Rob. We all know a lot of shady people. There we go.
Unfortunately.
Yeah, I know.
Sorry. Sorry, guys.
That's how it came off. It came off like me just being like, "Give me your shoes, give me your coat.
Yeah,
I'll
right.
take that. I'll take that watch." So, can we talk about a couple of things before while you're doing whatever you're doing over there, Sam?
Yeah, just on one other thing. Also, well, actually, we'll announce it after the interview. I'll just turn it over to you guys.
So, Beer Baron, what would you like to talk about? It seems like there's been quite a bit. We've got quite a bit of games in the last week. Every other day we're playing. We're winning. We're losing. We're winning. We're losing. What do you got, Beer Baron?
Let's talk about with the elephant in the room, which is the fact that Ben Lovejoy got sent out to Dallas for a third-round pick, which nobody thought he was going to return a third-round pick. But he also gets a right-handed defenseman in Carrick. And Carrick is actually a decent. He's young. I think he's 24, if my memory serves me correct. He's still a developing project, but the kid is a puck-moving defenseman. So I'm sure he's going to get a hell of a look this year.
Towards the end of the season, more than likely. Now, was he actually playing with Dallas, or was he playing in the AHL?
I think he was splitting time, but I'd have to dig a little bit deeper because there's a lot of things that have been going on since that trade. So I kind of like looked at this, the surface of the trade. But that's one of the good things about having Joe on. He's going to be able to kind of dig into that a little bit deeper for us, I suppose. And then you also, the rumblings that Johansson has been held out of the last couple of games because he's up on the block and being traded. So there's a lot of speculation of where he's going to possibly go or what ratio is going to be getting in return, considering he got a second-round pick for Boyle, got a third-round pick for Lovejoy. So with the resurgence of Mojo's game, some people are even saying, hey, he could possibly get a 1, but I personally doubt that.
Yeah, I don't know. That's a little high. It would be great. And, it's really a matter of if there's a team out there that really is desperate for his services that may want to give up that 1, that would be fantastic. It's just a matter of, what Shiro is, what he's working behind the scenes, which you never know. It would be safe to say that if he's in the lineup tomorrow, then he's probably not being moved since he hasn't been in the lineup for the last 2 games. But, we'll see.
Yeah, David Decker just said he's worth a first to a playoff-bound team. It depends. It depends on what the needs of the team are. It was funny because you have a team like Buffalo who has a couple first-round picks. Now, they just made a move, and they just moved one of their first-round picks out. You also have to look at the teams that are going to be a potential trade partner. And if they do have a first-round pick, what kind of things do they have available? There's not a lot from some of these teams. Like somebody was saying, oh, Dallas could be interested. And since we already, established a relationship with them by sending Lovejoy down there, maybe we can get, their first round pick. Well, they don't have a second or a third in 2019. So I highly doubt they're going to want to ship off their first round pick as well. It's just like, it's got to be the right fit. And you got to think like Shiro's also probably, supposedly there hasn't been any talk about contract extension with Johansson, but he's got to have that in the back of his mind where maybe they've had that conversation where, hey, we can't move you, stick around here, maybe we'll sign this extension, blah blah blah. I wouldn't be shocked if before between now and when the trade deadline actually happens, he does get moved, and I wouldn't be shocked if he doesn't because maybe there isn't the right fit or the right price.
Yeah. I'm trying to look at what Zuccarello got or what the Rangers got.
You see him totally snub Ben Lovejoy. What a bum.
Well, I'm looking some stuff up now as we're going along. The Stars traded for Zuccarello, and he's out for 4 weeks because he blocked a shot today. I guess today he was playing. He blocked a shot. He's out 4 weeks. So Dallas will be once again looking for another person, another scorer. Well, Zuccarello only got a second-round pick and a conditional. He got a conditional second round in 19 and a conditional third round in 2020. So Zuccarello only commanded a conditional second and third. Not to have them on the same even keel, but it kind of gives an idea where the market is with what Zuccarello got.
Yeah. I don't know. It'll be interesting. It'll be interesting because you see. There's teams that could definitely use them. You know what I mean? And there's been talks of teams like in the East and the West that could possibly need them. And then it's just you look at what the market is for wingers out there, and you doubt that Panarin's probably going to get moved, especially now because Columbus seems like they're totally all in, bringing in Duchesne and
Columbus is buying.
They're totally all in. There's no way.
Yeah, they're gearing up for a push, especially because it seems like all signs are pointing to Bobrovsky maybe not being there next year, and then to find a goalie of that caliber may be tough. So it looks like they may be pushing all in for right now, just to get it done. So I highly doubt that they're going to be selling. It's like you said, you have to have the right buyer at the who needs him to fit the right place in their roster, who's willing to give up the right thing that we want to get for us. And on top of that, I saw some rumor about the Devils possibly wanting to move Kincaid as well.
I did too, and I was going to bring that up. I was just about to bring that up as well.
Yeah.
And the people that were talking about it, especially in the Twitter world of Devils hockey, which stay away from it if you're not in it.
I'm not on that Twitter boat. I'm not. I'm not. I am just because there's a lot of really every
people.
so often.
Yeah, there's a lot of really good people, but there's a lot of horrible things.
I'm sure.
Honestly, I if they move him, and even if they get a 6th round pick for it, or they get a 7th round pick for him, you know what I mean? Like, it doesn't sound like much, but they're not going to get a lot. They're not going to get a lot in return unless the team is super desperate. And you don't see that team that's out there that's like had their number one and their backup go down to injury. So I don't know. Honestly, like, since David Holiday says Kincaid for a bag of pucks and
3 Timmy's hot chocolates.
That's funny.
And I saw Keith Kincaid's supposed to do a signing coming up after the trade deadline. I think we were talking about that in our group message, and my first thought was like, wow, that's kind of
bold.
Kind of bold to book someone like Kincaid who could possibly be moved, but I guess that's part of the business. You just kind of refund everyone, say, oops, sorry.
David Holiday once again with a great point about Bratt being a 6th round pick. So a 6th round pick would be a great deal for Kincaid. And don't worry, Douglas Walker. We're going to be talking about Connor Carrick in a little bit when Joe comes on. He's going to have a little bit more knowledge, hopefully, about him. Like I said, we just kind of looked at it at the surface of the trade. There's also, we do have lives, man. We do have other things going on.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, man. I spent my day yesterday doing something pretty damn fun. Prior to watching the Devils self-destruct, I did the polar bear plunge down in Seaside, which was pretty wild. A little chilly. The water was a little bit cold, but
damn,
it was still a good time.
God bless you.
Hey, my group raised about $9,000 for Special Olympics, so I'm pretty pumped.
Oh, that's
about
awesome. That's great, man. David Deckard, we don't hate Keith Kincaid. We do have a bipolar fan base, that's for sure.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
I mean, it's up and down because if Kincaid comes in and he plays solid for like 2 days, then everybody's like, "Oh, Kincaid's the best. Corey can take a hike and blah blah blah." You saw what happened with Corey Schneider. Everybody hates the dude, and then all of a sudden he puts up 2 solid games, and everyone's like, "He's back. We're back."
Yeah. By the way, I've been saying this all along. All Corey has to do is get win number 1, and then win number 2 and 3 will come. I've been saying this all along. And what happens? He got win number 1, and then he got his game back. Now, is he completely back? That, time will tell. I know I definitely don't hate Kincaid, but you're right. Our fan base tends to be quite bipolar. If someone has a good game, everyone's all about them. If someone has a bad game, then all of a sudden it's like everyone's, just completely, just blowing up about, on the guy.
I'm sorry. David Holiday, you must be, I don't know if you live in Edmonton or if that's what you're saying, but he said that Devils fans are way more level than Edmonton Oiler fans. If I was an Oilers fan, I'd be I'd be pissed because first of all, with the amount of first round picks that you guys had, the team that was supposed to be this great, next best thing because we have all these pieces in place and just never been able to put it together.
And that's the strangest thing. All of that talent and they can't put it together. That's crazy to me. It's crazy because they're all great players. They just can't put it together as a team. So it's just it's weird, but yeah, I couldn't imagine. I mean, yeah, that fan base must lose their minds on a daily basis.
Yeah, seriously. So it looks like Sam is ready to.
Sam's ready.
He's giving us the green light. All right, so yeah. Sam is bringing on our friend right now. So. One of our loyal listeners who is also an extremely in-depth and knowledgeable hockey fan, Mr. Jersey Joe. So, Jersey Joe, welcome to the show.
Thank you, guys. It is a wonderful Sunday, so thank you for having me.
Well, thanks for coming on, Joe.
Hey, thank you, guys. So, I have myself a big green notebook full of draft prospects and all the interesting stuff you might want to whack me with some good questions at.
Very cool. Hey, before we get into that, I was wondering if you had a chance to kind of look up or kind of dig deeper into Connor Carrick, who the Devils have gotten for Ben Lovejoy. Do you know a little bit more about him than we do?
Okay, so per NHL.com, he's a career 181 games played guy. He has 10 goals and 24 assists, so he has 34 points in 181 games. Forget about the plus-minus because he has a -7 this season. His career is -8, but that's a little deceiving sometimes. But he's someone that's probably a little bit better than Ben Lovejoy, someone who's young, a little bit more fluid, but someone who could dish the puck a little bit better. But someone who could inject some life, and he had some good cups of coffee with the Toronto Maple Leafs. And don't forget, he did play with Dallas for a little bit in the AHL. However, he did have a cup of coffee in Dallas.
Didn't he play like 64 games for the Maple Leafs a couple years ago, like 2 years ago? So he was kind of like a regular in the NHL. I know I read into that a little bit.
Yeah, in 2017, he played in 47 games. He had 4 goals and 12 points. He had a +5 because that Maple Leafs team was just becoming more solidified around Austin Matthews and of course, William Nylander a little bit, but you still had a lot of depth when they added, recently it was Joe Thornton in that offseason. So he had a lot of offensive firepower and some really good defense. So it's a bunch of variables that play into a guy like him who didn't have to do a whole lot of lifting.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
So, Joe, it sounds like we're getting a pretty solid younger guy in exchange for an older guy and a pick, which I'm really... I'm okay with us going younger with our defensive core and keeping a core that'll hopefully work together and grow together and eventually evolve together into a really solid, defensive core.
Yeah, and don't forget he was 2012 Washington draft pick from the 5th round. He was 16th pick in that as 137th overall. And don't forget, we have that 3rd round from Dallas, which could be, at worst, 93rd overall. So we could get something interesting, but Ray might end up dangling one of those extra picks for something more worthwhile.
That's true. That's how we got Johansson and how we ended up getting Palmieri as well, as flipping an extra pick over there. And it's true also that, I was looking at a couple of different things that Carrick also played with Will Butcher and Steve Santini in the, I think, the World Juniors.
Yeah, that's going way far back. Yeah. Butcher, at that time, it had to be along the timeline. He was playing in college, getting his 3 or 4 years in. So it's most likely it did happen, but that was many moves ago. So.
Yeah, there's still some familiarity, though, which is always good for someone coming in. Plus, Butcher and Santini may have liked the guy and liked playing with the guy, which is, can help as far as getting this guy acclimated and real quick to the team if he's going to stay with us or if they're going to send him to Binghamton or not. But that's always a plus when you know someone coming into to an organization, though.
Well, it also helps that Ray Shiro understands that when he's working with each individual client and he works with their agents, it helps as a business guy for him to network. And when you find other guys to network with and you end up creating that better culture in that locker room, it makes it less chaotic in a sense. But you got to think about it. If you can create some really good mojo, no pun intended, but build up the chemistry, hopefully we do get more assets with mojo. But you do want to clean out the dirty laundry, kind of like Marie Kondo, and make the place bring great joy and get rid of the love joy.
Yeah. So we have a question from Jerry on our Facebook group. He said, "How does this draft rank compared to the past drafts after the first 15 picks?" So, like, we have the first because I want to just say before I let you go, Joe. One of the things that I love about Joe, and if everybody doesn't know, is your extensive knowledge about just the draft and all these picks. And there's a few things that I want to ask you about the top of the draft. But this is an excellent question about, I guess, the back end of that first round. So what do you think?
All right. So the way it's looking is 1 through 15. It's going to be mostly offense and defense. So you're not going to have any goaltenders unless you're looking at Spencer Knight, which will be a different story. One is Jack Hughes, of course, and Capo Caco at number 2. Number 3 is someone you probably might not heard of. His name is Vasily Podkolzin.
Mm-hmm.
And the guy behind him, or who he might switch spots with, is Kirby Doff. He plays in the WHL. And another one is a defenseman named Bowen Byram. And another center behind him is Dylan Cousins. And number 7 is a college commit in Matthew Boldy. 8 is Philip Broberg. 9 is Alexander Turcotte. 10 is Trevor Zegras. 11 is Peyton Krebs. Number 12 is Raphael Lavoie. He plays for the Halifax Mooseheads, by the way. And then Michael Robertson at 13. He's a really good defenseman, by the way. Number 14 is an American with a Russian name, Artur Kaliev, or Arthur, preferably for us Anglophones. And at 15 is Nick Suzuki's brother, Ryan Suzuki. So that's what it's looking at currently, but anything could change. Like, did you think last year that Ty Smith would leave the top 10 and fall down to the Devils at 17? No. I did predict that he would go in the top 15 day before the draft. And then the next day after the draft, I did an update on my YouTube channel saying the Devils got Ty Smith at 17. So he was my best available defender or player at that time. So my second best pick at the time was Keandre Miller. And he eventually fell to the blue skirts across the Hudson.
Well said.
So that's kind of how it's all.
So we have a question once again. Who do you have? If you have the number 1 overall pick, if the Devils win the draft lottery, do you have Hughes or Kakko?
I am honestly. This is going to be a lot easier for me to say. It's going to be Jack Hughes. Unlike the closeness of the Keisher Patrick draft, I'm going with someone on his worst day, and Jack Hughes. He's great with puck protection, very excellent. He is very perseverant. He's got really good peripheral vision, silky backhanded lateral movement with the way he controls the stick. He has fluid edge work, quick snapshot, excellent passer. He's basically our modern day Patrick Kane. The one thing that is the big knock on him is his body mass index, because he's 5'10" and 168 pounds.
Yeah, that's a little on the light side, that's for sure. But he's also very young, so.
Yeah, but you can build that up though.
Yeah, kids at that age, your metabolism is a lot faster than someone who is 30 or older. It's going to be a lot better. Then you have Kaapo Kakko, so I'll give you insight on him. So he's got very silky mitts. He's outstanding sniper on the power play. He has nice heads-up play around the net, quick snapper on the net, pain in the you-know-what around the net. He's outstanding with the puck protection, amazing speed. He's a heart and soul type guy with lots of skill. And if anyone, question for the listeners, how many of you were watching the Team USA Finland gold medal game?
I mean, I did.
Okay, so wasn't there a lot of hard to contain moments when Kakko was loose?
There were, yeah.
Yeah, people forgot about him around the net. So when you leave a kid around the net loose on the offensive zone and you're not covering man-to-man, odds are the puck's in the back of your net.
Mm-hmm. I mean, go ahead.
One of the things I like about Kakko too is, the guy won already. He led he led Finland to the gold medal, which you can't really. That's definitely a plus. The guy's really young, and he's also, led his country to a victory in one of the most prestigious tournaments in the world. So, he's also got that on his side as well, as far as I'm concerned. Do you think one or one or the other or both are NHL ready right off the bat between the two of them?
I honestly think you can't go wrong. To be honest, if the Devils got second overall and you get Kakko, you're honestly sitting pretty. I honestly really like the heart and soul he has. And also, don't forget, he plays with Devils prospect Arnie Talbot. And Talbot is, although he's out until September, he's had a tremendous season, and especially a wonderful campaign with Finland. And he has such a great year with Penn State, and he's someone who has captained, and he's got great quality leadership skills. And worst comes to worst, you get Kaapo Kakko at number 2.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, which unlike when we had when we drafted Nico, I felt like there was clearly going to be one was going to be better than the other, but between Hughes and Kakko, it seems like if you get one or the other, you're going to get a fantastic player in either or, which I didn't feel like that with Patrick or Nico.
Honestly, when I was looking at the Heischer Patrick draft, Patrick kind of reminded me of more faster, more bruiser type version of Travis Zajac. You know what I mean? But he had this attitude that I think might have scared off Dr. Amy Kimball, the Devils sports team psychologist. That's just me. Just looking at like from NHL Network and interviews. When I listen to Nico, he has this Patrick Elias type character, and if you were watching the playoffs in Nashville, I honestly like seeing the two side by side, and I said, Jesus, this guy has a better demeanor than this guy. So, but I also like the way the Cherry Org tournament was, and believe it or not, the guy that the Devils drafted, Nikita Papagayev, actually got an assist on the play to Nico on that nice full breakaway. Nico literally went 5-0.
You know, it's funny because thinking about this upcoming draft and looking at the season that's kind of been a loss, you know, you put the Devils into a situation where right now, currently, they're picking 4th. Essentially, you would want them to pick within the first 2 or 3. But like you were saying, there's a couple of guys that are within that top 5 range. I know you named one of them before. Let's just say everything kind of let's say everything kind of falls into place, and the Devils end up having to pick number 4 or 5 overall. Who are you who are you selling? Who are you buying? Like who's the guy that you want to take at that point, or who's the guy that should the Devils trade back? Should they move around, or is this draft strong enough to hold a top 4 or 5 position?
Well, you bring up a good point. Ray is going to shop around, before he would even think about moving the pick. My gut feeling is, if I don't like Podkolzin at number 3, my next best bet would be Kirby Dach, and I'm going to give you a good description on Kirby Dach, but I'm also going to give you the same for Podkolzin. So Kirby Dach is supposed to go 4th or 8th, but he at times he's gone ranked at 3. So Dach is a silky mitts. He has quick hands, excellent passer. He's good physically as a playmaker as well. Excellent on the power play, and he's able to crush the crease in that sense. And he's just really good at being the heads-up player. And he looks tall like a Patrick Farnquist. Similar release to Phil Kessel on a snapshot. So you have someone who could be a little safer.
Sounds good to me.
Yeah, I'll take any offense.
I think we all want some good offense. So Vasily Podkolzin, average draft position is between 2 and 3. From what I've saw from online and from watching the games, he's strong, fast, graceful power skater. Imagine if Pavel Zacha was like that. Uses his body in a physical way to shield the puck. At times, you'll also see him spread his legs to protect it. He has a high-powered tank on his own skate. That's what he is. He's smart on his edge work. He is wider, with his legs to fight off defenders. He has a quick wrist shot from the point. Also smarter, faster, better winger than Pavel Zacha. Just remember that. He has so far 0.66 points a game, but don't let points per game fool you, because you also have the all-around game where if he can improve his defense just a little bit, and you kind of Jacques Lemaire, you'll have someone who can be more well-rounded and try and score a little bit more, create some more chances. That's my knock on.
I don't want to alarm anybody, but there's some breaking news that have just coming down the pipeline. If you want some scoring, you know who you bring up from the AHL to the NHL level.
Oh no. Who be Aaron? Who?
Well, Joey Anderson got sent down, which I'm kind of bummed about because I thoroughly enjoy Joey Anderson, and I really have high hopes for him. But Mikey McLeod making his NHL second debut. Let's see if that's actually a real thing. If that's a real thing, or if it's just one of those moves because you need to make somebody eligible for the AHL playoffs. If they make the playoffs, they might not. But Mikey McLeod back with the big club.
Beer Baron, what would you do if he was packaged in a trade in the next 2 days? You would you would cry.
I'd be all right. I'd be all right. I'd be okay.
I'd be okay. Well, someone's gonna have a cheer and beer.
I mean, honestly, I just want to see what this kid got. The last time he came up, he was up for 5 minutes, for crying out loud. You know, let him actually play in the game. I mean, it doesn't matter anyways.
Now, we're going to be seeing a lot of younger guys playing a lot of, some minutes in the upcoming, weeks just to see what we have. I'm surprised we haven't seen more. I know we've seen quite a bit of it recently, but I'm surprised we haven't seen more leading into the trade deadline.
So I have more draft stuff. If you're interested in more on that side, but I do think Mojo can get traded. I just think he's gonna. The cost basis you got him for was a second and third, and you know what they all had in common? They were people who had left the team. Was DeBoer to San Jose and Lou to be the GM of Toronto at the time. So that was like getting free money, basically.
Yeah. Hopefully.
So,
well,
Joe, from what you're seeming to be telling us, is it seems like it's a solidly deep draft as far as offensive ability right there in the the top 15 seems to be like we're going to get someone solid in with hopefully unfortunately the top 5, a pick in the top 5 there.
Yeah, this is a draft where you're not going to get like a super generational player like Austin Matthews, but the closest to him would be Jack Hughes, and he can be in a way because he's got that similar build and he's got similar attributes, but I don't think he's going to be on the exact level or pedestal. But never mention the name McDavid. You're never going to get that far. That's like once in a lifetime. I'm not drinking a Tim Hortons coffee or anything, just letting you know. So,
yeah.
But anyways, this draft is pretty steep on the offensive front. Defense on the North American side, I mean, I can talk about some defensemen if you really are interested, but they may not be like, someone that might be like a Niedermeyer type, but this is the today's game stuff that you're going to get because Bowen Byram, he's a great offensive support for like empty net goals, especially when he was playing for Team Canada. He was crisp tape to tape pass on the assist. Solid hitter as well. He's not afraid to hit. Smooth skater. He looks calm, gliding by way of neutral zone. He's great offensive awareness. Two-way defender. Nice job just putting the puck on net from the low danger zone. So he's not afraid to take a shot, even if it means, hitting some traffic.
Yeah. So I have a question about who do you have any like kind of dark horse picks or anybody that's going to sneak into that top 3 that nobody's talking about right now? When it came to Nico's draft here, there wasn't really a ton of talk about Nico Hischier until it got closer to the draft, closer to the draft day. Nolan Patrick was kind of like, for years leading up to that draft, the consummate number 1 overall pick. What do you guys think? Or what do you think, Joe?
I don't think it's going to be like that at all because a guy like Dylan Cousins is more like someone who has a quick wrist shot. He's really smart passer along like the boards, and he's like that guy that will grind it out, like win those board battles. And he's solid, like battery mate on the power play. Excellent backhanded forehand on the power move, and he's a solid forechecker. Very good, very smooth skater. If he does move up from 3 to 2 for some reason, and someone doesn't like Taco, that's going to be pretty odd. But I just don't see this draft, honestly. But I would rather take a flyer on the top 2 that's already there, because it's going to be like, remember when Matthews and Laine, like, you couldn't screw up with either 2? This is the kind of draft that we're headed towards.
Mm-hmm.
Especially if you listen to like Bob McKenzie, but maybe not next year, because you have Alexis Lafreniere, who is supposed to be like the next Vincent Lecavalier, Marty St. Louis type, with the smarts of a Sidney Crosby, because he's a left-handed skater from Rimouski in the QMJHL. So I don't see in this year's, but maybe next year there might be a little rumbling of something else.
Mm-hmm.
So
I just like knowing that we're gonna have a top pick, and it seems like that there's a pretty solid at least 1 through 15, which we're gonna pick much higher than 15. But I like knowing that we're gonna get a pretty solid player at wherever in the top 5 that we'll probably eventually pick.
Yeah, if I'm Ray Shero, I honestly want to shop the 2nd and 3rd rounders instead of the 1st, because I don't want to do what Lou Lamoriello did. If you think about it, you trade for a goaltender who's like prior to his prime, in the prime, and then a few years later, the return on equity when you could have traded him away, or could have gotten another goaltender to add to him. Just really, it's not a risk I would take if I was a GM. But if I'm Paul Castron, I like this draft, knowing that if Ray can't, pull off a trade for, like, let's say, Lord forbid, Toronto is saying to Ray, hey, can you give us some cap help? We're really against the cap. Most of the time it doesn't happen like that. But because Ray used the cap space very well, and he has near-term assets and 2nd and 3rd round picks, you can really try and pluck a guy if you can. But what are the chances? Like, I remember I was in Western Pennsylvania when the Kyle Palmieri trade occurred. It was near the end of the day of the draft, on the first day.
So, Joe, I have a question for you, and one of the last questions I want to ask for the night. But the Devils are now starting to compile some draft picks for 2019, possibly adding more with Johansson trade coming down the pipeline. And there's also talk that Stafford might be available, and a couple other guys, Kincaid. And we joke about like the value of what Kincaid can bring back, but even if he brings back a 6th round pick, which would be nice, let's say they add 2 or 3 more picks to this draft. Do you see them stockpiling some of these draft picks to possibly make an offer sheet towards one of these RFAs that are going to be available, or not available, but up for restricted free agency this summer? Is this going to be a big price tag if they have to do it?
Well, just to clear it up, remember when you offer sheet a guy for a certain amount of money, if it's like more than like $6 million plus, you owe like X amount of picks, and that's also on cap friendly. So you're giving up an easily amount of first rounders. If Ray does get another first from, let's say, another team tomorrow, or another second, etc., he basically has some insurance in case he has to yield some future Devils draft picks. But honestly, I do think if he plucks a guy like, let me just throw a name out there. Maybe you have Kasperi Kapanen, or maybe you have Braden Point, but who knows what happens between today and Canada Day on July 1st, 3 days before 4th of July. you don't know what Ray is thinking. Ray has so many options, and he has so many GMs he's probably talking with. Don't forget, when he usually goes to the draft, he's usually talking to other GMs about laying out foundation work for maybe a possible trade or two. And if that doesn't happen, then maybe he will go to war by waging, an offer sheet, the occasional offer sheet. But how many times has the offer sheet really helped many teams? It's really small, like astronomical.
Yeah, it's true, and I mean it's there's the realm of the possibility of it happening, and I mean I doubt it would ever happen, just because it's like you said, it's very, very slim that it does happen. Offer sheets are something that are talked about and rarely ever followed through on. But honestly, Joe, this has been such an honor having you on, and I can't thank you enough. We were talking off air, you and I, about this and possibly making it happen. So I'm really excited that this we're able to make this happen, and for you to share some of your insights. So hopefully we'll definitely have you come on again, and when we're getting closer to the draft, we'll lead into that.
Thank you. I'm actually was going to say I'm looking forward to doing another one. So if I have to do another, it's a pleasure to do something for this Devils podcast and the future of Devils fandom and many other things.
Definitely. Well, thank you very much for coming on, buddy. We'll talk to you soon.
Thank you. See you soon. Let's go Devils.
Oh yeah, let's go Devils. Definitely. That was a that was a great interview. A lot of insight on the draft. We're gonna have Joe back closer to the draft. Come June.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, especially when we know like what position the Devils are actually going to draft in.
Yeah,
because then we'll be able to like start breaking down, who's going to be available, what can we expect, and stuff like that. But yeah, very cool, very cool.
Unfortunately, we'll know that in less than a month and a half. We'll know where we're at. I can't remember because I've only had to pay attention once. Once recently, but when is it that they do the draft lottery? They do that sometime during the playoffs. I know that, but I can't remember exactly when.
I don't know if it's in the first round. Maybe somebody on the Facebook group can.
Can remember when it is that they do, because I just can't, for the life of me, I can't remember, and I'm really unable to look it up right now. I'm sure I can find out, when they're going to have it, but it's with the Devils, the way that they played this last week, they were. Sam just said between round 1 and 2. So somewhere in that first or second round, we'll know. The Devils this past week, though, trading a win, a loss, a win, and then if there's any loss that I did not want to see happen yesterday.
Oh God, I don't even want to talk about that.
I'll tell you what. We got to the after doing the polar bear plunge yesterday. We got to the establishment in which we were doing our post plunge festivities, and. Buddy of mine is there that jumped in the ocean with me and was like, did you see the score? And I was like, no, I have no clue what the score is because I was just so busy with everything else. He's like, good, don't. And I'm like, oh, now I have to look. And at that point, it was like 3-0. And I went and found a TV, and I just stood there and watched, and I kept thinking like, all right, 3-0, it's still possible. It was just
hockey. Apparently, according to Stan Fischler. Although the 2-0 lead for us this year has been the worst lead in hockey.
Oh, I know. We can't really hold that anything with that 2-0 lead. But I was really kind of hoping that the Devils would turn it around and we would at least go to overtime. But
they looked terrible, buddy.
Yeah, I know. They could hardly muster any offensive ability in the zone. It seemed like as soon as they got over the blue line, they were losing the puck, and it was back out, and the Rangers were on the front foot there. They just looked so terrible.
It was one of those games where I flipped it on and I turned it off when it went to 2-0. I turned it back on. I was like, you know what? It's only 2-0. I'm like, come on. 3-0. Yeah, turned it back off. And then I turned it back on. I was like, all right, I can't give up on a team like this. I just get so frustrated because like you hear that goal song that the Rangers have, and it just
I hate that.
just irks the hell out of me. Yep. And it's like one of those things. It's one of those things that, like, as soon as it starts playing, it like makes me want to punch somebody in the face. So,
Oh
you know,
no, I definitely get that.
You see, I watched like a majority of the game. I'll put it that way, and it was just like one of those games where they couldn't get out of their own way, and then as soon as they start to, and as soon as they start to build up any kind of like momentum, they just let it, slide back into the other team's favor. So, I mean, whatever. At this point, I hate to say this, but I'm just like, you're counting the games. Like, how many more? How many more? There's no hope of the playoffs. There's no way in hell they'd make the playoffs. You almost want them to lose because you want them to, to get that draft pick. I'm not all for tanking, and I don't like celebrate tanking, but dude, the more games they lose, it'd be better at this point.
Yeah, it's really a very odd. It's really a very odd position to be in because you want to get that high draft pick because, like you said, at this point the playoffs are out of the picture. But you also would like to see them at the same time. You want to see them win, but you know that every win is 2 points away. Potentially another position away from that top draft pick. Because if we're going to be this bad, I at least want to get something in the end to where we won't be so bad in the future.
Yeah,
where we can dig ourselves out of this, monotonous hole that we're in of just being subpar.
And David Holiday said, "Do we fire Nasruddin for how bad the defense is played because sometimes they look absolutely lost?" Maybe you do. Maybe you're not going to fire Hines because you just extended him. So maybe you do, part ways with Nasruddin and bring Scott Stevens back. Bring him back into the fold. Yeah. Let him coach the D, and he did a hell of a job when he was here last time. So I don't know. Maybe it's time to bring Stevens back and to really get an identity with this defense. And I hope they do. Somebody said shut down Hall. I hope they do shut down Hall for the rest of the year, to be honest with you. Because I don't want to see him come back and hurt himself. Like, get better. Whatever the heck, whatever's wrong with him, because nobody knows.
Yeah, whatever it is, it's something really bad and nagging if he's going to continue to be out like this without any kind of update. I do know that last I saw he was skating on his own. It's like, but skating, is he skating full gears? He's skating, 100%, 75%. Like it just says he's skating on his own, unless I've missed something, which is possible in the last week. But at this point, it's like may as well. And I was just gonna say this, and Paul just said in the group, play the young guys. You know what? It's see what we have, see what's there. Give maybe the Devils will make you happy. They'll give Mike McLeod a chance.
Yeah. I mean, as much as I joke about that, like, in all seriousness, like, bring up everybody and anybody. You know what?
Yeah.
If you think they have an opportunity to play in the NHL, and it's not just like one of those career AHL guys, bring them up, give them a shot, let them play out a portion of the year. It's not bad to send Joey Anderson back down to the AHL and let him kind of like regain his composure. The dude missed a good chunk of the season with an injury, so let him go back down to the AHL and kind of refine his game again. Brett Seney, you know what? Like, he's had some hot and cold days. Let him go back down and kind of like rethink his game, but keep Rooney up because he's been great on the PK. Keep the core of this little group, but then like start bringing up Bastien, start bringing up McLeod, start bringing up some of these other guys and giving them a real look for, 2-3 games, or not 2-3 game, 2-3 week stretch. You know what I mean? Instead of like a 5-minute shift.
Yeah. And then, you know what, if we don't trade either Corey or Keith, I'm all for, bringing up Blackwood, showing more of what he can do. Maybe send Keith down to Binghamton.
And he does better in the NHL than he does in the AHL.
He does. No, he absolutely does. Bring him up. Let him have a couple games over the final stretch. See what he can do. It's pretty much anyone can. At this point in the season, it's just give everyone and anyone a chance. See what we have. You know, I'm surprised they didn't do that a little bit, more leading up to the trade deadline, so they would know who we could possibly move from the AHL to get someone or at least some picks. So I don't know. I do want to see more of the young guys because at this point we're in like that weird limbo where you don't want to, like we were saying, you don't want to win, but we still want to win, but we want to get a good draft pick, but we got to lose to get a good draft pick, but you don't want to see the team lose. It's just it's this weird limbo of just
it's like when they lose, you're pissed, but at the same time you're like, all right, okay,
all right, yeah, we'll get a better draft pick, and then they win. You're like, yeah, we won, and then you're like, oh wait, but there goes a really good draft. It's like it's such a weird position to be in at this point. It's like. I don't know. It's just so weird.
But you know what? You know when I want them to win is on March 2nd. That's when I want them to win. Our live event. I want them to win. I want us to be able to have a good time, smile, enjoy ourselves. There's a $20 Let's Go Devils podcast dinner and all you can drink responsibly.
Yes. Be responsible. Beer. Domestics.
It's always domestic. I mean, honestly. That day, I want them to win just because I want to be able to hang out with everybody. The last time we did a live event, we had such a great time. Every time we do one of these live events, we have such a great time. We hang out with everybody. We talk to everybody as much as we can. Or if you come over to the table, because normally I'm sitting behind a table. But honestly, come out March 2nd, hang out. Grant Marshall's going to be there. He's an awesome dude. He's so much fun in person too, and he'll let you try on his Stanley Cup ring if you ask him nicely.
Yeah, and this whole live event is next Saturday, March 2nd at Mother's Ale House in Wayne, New Jersey. Yeah, absolutely. Grant Marshall is a fantastic live guest to have.
Awesome dude.
Like you said, he will let you try the ring on. He'll sit and have a conversation with you as well. If you want to talk to him about, whatever Devils hockey or really nice guy, he's definitely, he'll sign whatever you got. Just it's a real great addition to what we're going to do, live pregame podcast and watch the game together. And as much as I want to see the Devils win, I obviously do, but I'm just excited to hang out with everyone at Mother's, $20, for a meal and all you can drink domestic beer responsibly. I'm really all for that. I'm really all just having a good time. Plus, at the same time, our live event will also feature these great T-shirts, which you can purchase. Right. Not this one, but you can purchase it and have Grant Marshall sign it like I did right there. There we go. I couldn't get in the camera right.
And we're gonna have, as Sam said at the beginning of the show, we're gonna have Arlette's gonna be playing.
Yep.
Organist Pete's gonna be there. I'm gonna try to,
if you've never spoken to Organist Pete, he's another really good dude too. Yeah,
dude, he is one of the coolest guys I've ever met. Super cool, and super nice.
And if you've never met Arlette, which I know a lot of our listeners have, Arlette's also an awesome person to meet. So definitely give her say hi to her, have a conversation with her. It's definitely going to be just an all around good time to have, Grant Marshall, Arlette, Organist Pete there live in person, plus our pregame podcast, $20 for food and all you can drink responsibly of domestic beer. Devils are on TV. It's like,
and if you've never been to Mother's, it's wall to wall TVs, which is amazing.
Oh yeah,
it's just TVs
absolutely
everywhere. Last time we were there, they had the Devils game on, and it was like,
with sound,
what you want your man cave to be. Yeah, it was amazing.
Definitely.
Also, we should announce the winner for the bobblehead, but we will say this: that there is another bobblehead that will be auctioned off or given away the day of our live event. So if you didn't win today, if you live in the area, if you can make the event, make sure you come up and you tell us, because we're going to be giving away another one of these David Puddy bobbleheads. So
absolutely. And you know what? This is kind of like sticking it to all those. If you haven't looked on eBay, they're going for stupid amounts on eBay.
It's unbelievable.
Us giving these two away is just us trying to stick it to all those people that are trying to trying to make, way too much money on a giveaway, that Devil fans all want.
Mm-hmm.
And here we are giving them away because that's what we do with the Let's Go Devils podcast. We try to promote
because
the best
we care about the
Devil
American
fan.
people, because that's who we are. I build car parts for the American people because that's who I care about. Whatever, blah blah blah. You get it.
That's great, though. That's a great plug.
All right, so you ready? You want to give? You want to say who won the bobblehead tonight?
Yeah. So after combing through all of the submissions, which we had quite a few, so thank you to everyone who submitted. Unfortunately, it is a contest, so not everybody can win. But the winner tonight, the first of two that we were giving away, one tonight and one next Saturday, March 2nd at Mother's Ale House. The first winner tonight is Michael Newman. So Michael Newman, you have won.
We didn't pick his name because of that.
Michael Newman, you have won the David Puddy bobblehead. So you've won that tonight. So Sam will be in touch. I'm assuming producer Sam will be in touch. If you are not Michael Newman and you are everyone else who did not win the David Puddy bobblehead tonight, there will be another one given away at Mother's Ale House next Saturday, March 2nd, for the Let's Go Devils podcast live event. That is your second and only other chance to win one, at least from us, without having to pay those steep prices on eBay and stick it to the eBay sellers.
Wait a second.
If you're not Michael Newman, come out next Saturday and win. Try to win another one. What?
So we have a little problem. We have some of our friends that don't live, within the area, like David Holiday, who lives not near us. And he says, super nice of you guys to do this for us poor saps in other countries, which now, and if you win, David, it's going to look like I'm putting in like a real fix here. But maybe we should we'll figure out a way to include friends that can't make it to the podcast, maybe friends that do live overseas. So we'll talk about that a little bit off air, but I think we might have to include, as long as they're listening, we'll have to include our friends that live outside the area.
If there's a way we can do it, we'll try to figure it out. But if you can make it next Saturday, definitely come down to Mother's Ale House, because there will be a David Puddy bobblehead there. But we'll see what we can do for our overseas and our north of the border fans, which we're finding that we're getting more and more of them, which is pretty rad.
And we have fans in overseas, over in Europe, which is pretty awesome.
Yep. So it's we have Sam just chimed in. We got UK Devils fans. That is definitely for sure.
Awesome.
We got fans all over the place now, which is so cool. Which I don't know if we were expecting anything like that when we first started this thing.
I thought it'd be like our moms or somebody like that,
Yeah, right.
Thanks,
now
Mom.
Sam's just now Sam's just going
Into
over
Australia.
over the whole list of things.
Morocco. All right.
There we go. We're on all the weird. That might be almost all the continents we got covered there. I think we need a South American. It's kind of like Captain Planet. It's like Captain
David
Planet
Holiday.
and Devils fans coming together.
David Holiday was like, we can take the Let's Go Devils podcast plane over there and drop it off personally. So we only need 50 million more shirts to sell, I think it was.
Yeah, we gotta start selling more shirts. We actually have not plugged the plane in a while. Producer Sam, are you able to put the graphic of the plane up there for us? Are you listening? Producer Sam, is the graphic coming up? Now we're just throwing stuff. No, I guess not. No plane graphic right now. But yeah, by purchasing these shirts, which you can purchase online, you will eventually be able to help us buy our own Let's Go Devils private jet, which we can jet set around the world, go to away games, deliver bobbleheads across the overseas and north of the border. There it is.
Sans that guy. We still don't know who that dude is, but I'm not a fan of that guy that stands outside that plane.
No, and I'm not going to wear those stupid pants either when we get the jet.
Yeah,
Definitely not wearing those stupid
only
pants.
morons stick out their tongues when they take pictures. That's stupid.
So buying a shirt helps us get closer and closer to that Let's Go Devils podcast jet.
That's
And
right.
at that point, we'll be all over the place with our jet.
That'd be so fun.
It would be so much fun.
You see that video of Duchesne? He was in Columbus and he went back home. Like he chartered a private plane, went back to Ottawa, picked up his wife, his kid, his dog, like a couple of his personal effects, and also Zingle, or is this Zingle, or however you say his name?
No, you missed that one.
It's you got to look it up. It's really funny. He's like, hey, just showing himself on the plane, then his wife, then his kid, and then his teammate, who also got traded to Columbus.
That's what we'll be able to do when we have the Let's Go Devils podcast jet.
Yeah, we'll just start picking people up
around
and flying around. Yeah.
All right, so in the Devils week that was, win against Buffalo, lost to Pitt, win against Ottawa, lost to the Rangers, unfortunately. Week coming up, Montreal Monday, we have Calgary Wednesday, Philly Friday, all three home, and then we're on the road for Boston, which you can come and watch with us at Mother's Ale House next Saturday, March 2nd, with Grant Marshall, with Arlette, with Organist Pete, all in attendance, $20 for food, and all you can responsibly drink domestic beers. That looks like a good week. Devils again every other day. But a lot of hockey to watch this week, that's for sure.
And trade deadline. Let's see what they do.
Trade deadline.
Mojo,
yeah,
we
you know what?
Out.
See who's going to be moved.
That's right. And by the way, can you stand up real quick? Is that the All-Star jersey?
Yeah.
That's a tight jersey.
I know.
That's a nice looking jersey right there.
It was on sale and I had to pick it up. It's got the fighting strap and everything. I'm pretty pumped.
Hell yeah.
So
it's so funny that they do that. Like the one that I got, the Heritage jersey or whatever the hell they call them, has a fighting strap in it. And I'm like, I like that they do that, but what the hell's the point? They get into a fight on the street, and I got to make sure that's strapped down. Otherwise, I get that 5-minute major.
Well,
or the 10-minute misconduct if it's not strapped down.
You're buying the actual jersey that the players wear too, so you got to have it all, including the fighting strap.
True.
So I hear the music. I'm assuming that means producer Sam's looking to get rid of us since he's got to be quiet. So, Beer Baron, before we head out, do you have anything else that you want to add to this?
I just want to see Mikey McLeod do some things. I want to see him do well. That's it.
Looking at March, there's plenty of games for him to do it. You got plenty of games for a lot of the rookies to show themselves. Just so everyone knows, producer Sam's been dying to use these sound effects all night.
Yeah, a lot of first career goals going to happen.
Producer Sam, do you have anything to say before we close this out? Oh, is that a yes? No, we haven't coordinated with the sound effects meeting yet. Oh, here we go. All right, so I guess I'll close this out.
All right.
We got 4 games this week. Like I said, 3 home, 1 away. Again, Mother's Ale House next Saturday, March 2nd. Hang out with us. Hang out with Grant Marshall, Arlette, Organist Pete. $20 for food, or you can responsibly drink domestic beers. And just a good time overall with a lot of good people and a lot of good Devils fans. And your chance to win a David Puddy Bobblehead. We are also going to be... Okay. Yeah, we're also going to be doing a trade deadline show on Tuesday. So you were going to plug the same thing I was, weren't you?
Yes. I was going to say we're going to be doing a post trade deadline show on Tuesday night.
Yep. So be on the lookout for that. Some more of our midweek content. So watch for that trade deadline show. We'll see if Mojo is still on the team by the time that show comes around on Tuesday. So I guess that's it. Another Sunday night is come and gone. So until next time, let's go Devils.